back to another video. Today I'm going to be working on the Nissan again, see if I can finally fix this exhaust leak on the manifold. But as I was looking at the exhaust, I did notice that has backed out all on its own, so that's something else we're going to have to have a look at. So we're going to grab some tools, get on the cold concrete floor because it's another freezing cold day, and see if we can actually get the manifold off and have a closer look at what's causing the leak. Right, so I've got myself a nice cup of tea. Cheers. And a 14mm spanner to actually take off the manifold nuts. Hopefully don't have any more problems with these backing off. That just seems to have loosened off on its own, so we'll have to see. It has got the lock-in washers on. You may have seen on a previous video when I put some lock-in washers on to actually hold them in. The rest of them are really tight. It's definitely not leaking from the manifold, but we'll check that when we check the gasket. So I might get a new gasket for it as well, just to be on the safe side. But I'm pretty positive the actual leak is coming from where it joins to the downpipe joins to the actual rest of the exhaust. So I think I'm going to measure up with my micrometer and get some V-mounts. I think they're going to be a lot more secure, a lot safer. Tight fit in there. Come on. Cool, that's a bit more snug side. I'm probably doing this in the correct manner. I suppose we're supposed to loosen them all off first. I think I'll only do that. And take them off. I'm hoping the aluminium hasn't sheared on that, on the head on there, where that stud was. If it has, is that one gone as well? Looks like I've lost one there as well. Right, so I have to just JB weld it or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out when we get the actual floor branch off. To make sure I am recording. I get to have it where I press. I think I pressed record and I haven't. Oh yeah, we're fine. The only one difficult one to get to is this one here. So I actually made this floor branch, so it's not too bad for a DIY job. I'd love to get one made out of stainless, really. If anybody's got any recommendations of people who actually make floor branches. I know there's a guy I follow on YouTube called Gizfab, I think it is. He does a lot for micras. But he doesn't do anything for Sunnies. Maybe I should drop him an email, see if he'll do one, see what he says. It's coming off nice and easy. It's definitely not leaking from this bit. No, it's not. It's actually leaking from the bottom. But we'll get it all off, clean it all up. There's some new studs on there, I think. So here we go. Quick slurp. Supposed to be spring now, but it's still goddamn cold in this garage. Got the heater on. Don't seem to make much difference. Probably that 2 days of nice weather we had about 3 weeks ago was summer. We'll see. Okay, I'll get these last ones off and then we'll get under the car and loosen the ones that join the actual exhaust. I think they're 19s. So I've decided to have the door open and brave the cold just so I can get a bit more headroom to actually get under the car. I've got this 13s to come off here, one this side, one on the other side, and then there's two on this U-bolt here, and I think this is where it's leaking from, but we'll check all that when it's off. So I'll do that now. I can't do it with one hand, so I'll put the camera down, do it off camera, and catch up with you when it's off. Okay, so it's probably been about 20 minutes or so and I've got it off. So a little bit of swearing, a little bit of cursing, but it did come off in the end. As you can see on the actual gasket, we've got a leak here A small leak there, tiny one there just on that bolt again, and quite a major one there, but that is where the stud came out, so that's obviously where it was leaking because it wasn't clamped down properly enough. So I am going to get a new gasket because this one looks well and truly foobar. So I've lost two studs there, if you can see, so I'm going to have to replace those. I might see if I can replace them all actually, get brand new ones all the way through. Don't know if anybody's ever tried getting them out, but they are actually a pain in the arse to get out, so I may try the two nut system where you put a nut on, lock it on and then crank it out. I might try that. I'm going to soak them all with some WD and some penetrating fluid as well. I think they're steel studs into an alley head, so they're probably going to be well and truly on there, so maybe making a rod for my own back by trying to take them out. I might just see if I can just replace these. So I'm talking myself out of it. I don't know if you can notice that one looks like it's on backwards. Oh no, it's just the threads are a bit knackered there. So I might see if I can re-tap that one. I'll see what, if I can get it out, I'll get it out. If not, anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we've got the planks. So the actual manifold is off, as you can see. And this is what's causing the problem, these split joint here. So it's actually leaking through here as well. So I'm going to strip all this heat protection stuff off. Check the weld here, because there's a weld here as well. I may see if I can get another step down and then go to a V-mount. So I'm going to get my micrometer out next, I think, and we'll check these sizes, see if we can get some, I keep saying V-mount, I mean V-clamps. I get some V-clamps to actually clamp this onto the actual exhaust, which is just under here. Here's the original flex pipe as well, but I think it's been leaking there as well, as you can see. There's been a minor leak there, so I may just run a bead of well through this, give it all a really good clean up. I'll get the entire exhaust off, I think. The back section, as you can see, the back section and the back box are new. Well, the back box is the stainless Rage exhaust. It's got no baffles in it. That's why it sounds quite nice. We've still got the middle resonator in here, but I think this exhaust I replaced. Actually, this was the ZX exhaust, so oh crikey. So this exhaust is probably 15 years old, so it does really need replacing. I'd like to get a stainless one made, really. Like I said, I'll rip it all off, I think, and clean all this up, put another bead of weld all the way around here. You can see there, and see if I can tidy it up a little bit, put a nice V-clamp on here. I think that will make a hell of a difference to actually joining on as well. It'll be a lot safer, a lot easier to take on and off instead of these stupid U-bolts. Hate these things, really antiquated. Let's move with the times, get some better technology, but it's pretty clean under here. On the previous video I did the steering rack gaiter on the other side. This side is pretty good, needs a clean and a paint, so I'm going to do that at some point. Probably while it's up in the air, give this drive shaft gaiter a clean as well. That's all pretty good, it's just a bit dirty, so I'll clean all that up and just have a general tidy while I'm doing this at the same time, and then hopefully I can drive a little bit this year. Okay, so a couple of days have gone by since the last clip, and V-clamps have arrived, or V-clamp I should say. So that's just going to fit nicely over there. Under this heat wrap it is a little bit wider down here, so I actually put a step down to this here. So I think it should fit nicely around that edge there. It's not too bad, so I could even flare this out and weld it if I have to around the outside edge. The only other thing is the other side is the inside diameter, so I might have to try and flare that on the other side of the exhaust, or I go further back onto the flex pipe part, which is wider anyway, so it might have just fit nicely on there, and I can just do a nice bead of weld all the way around it. It's stainless, so it's going to be fun using my gasless MIG to weld stainless to mild steel. I've welded stainless to mild steel before, no problem, but with a proper gassed MIG welder, not a gasless, so it might be a little bit touch and go, but we'll cross that bridge later. So I think the next step is to remove all the heat wrap, which is going to be fun because it's really itchy, horrible stuff. I'm definitely going to put it back on though, because it protects the sump from too much heat soak, and because you get quite a lot of heat through this pipe here, because the other one was lower and smaller, the original. And then we'll measure up for welding, etc. Hopefully then we can get this welded into place, clean up this fascia here, get it all nice and smooth and polished. I'll probably try and block it, try and make sure it's nice and flat. And then I'll start sanding it all, get rid of some of this rust, get it ready for paint after we've welded, of course. But like we say, we'll get the wrap off, get it back on the car, measure up for the V-clamp, and take it from there. Okay, so that's the heat wrap off, or most of it. Some of it is actually bonded on here. Is that in focus? Sort of. And I think it's bonded on with the actual exhaust paste, so that's going to have to be ground all off. And I've noticed I've got a few little leaks. Got a couple there, one there as well, so I'm probably going to do a new bead around this area here. And I had one just there, a little small one under the wrap there, tiny little pinprick. So that's probably where I'm just getting a little blow through in here. So that will go on like that. Weld it all the way around, all nice and neat, all being well. Trim it all back so it's on a nice finish, and then we'll measure up with the original down pipe, original back pipe, to mount to this part here. But it's just a general clean up and do some proper re-weld instead of rushing it. I can make a nicer job of this. You can hear that giant hornet in here. I don't know if you can hear it buzzing around. Decided to live in my workshop for a while, I think. Get that out in a sec. Yeah, just tidy it all up, make it all nice and airtight. A lot better job instead of rushing it like I did last time. Clean it all up and give it a repaint. Wrap it in some more heat wrap, and hopefully it should be a nicer job and stop the leak. So as you can see, we're back under the car, and basically I've got to make that fit there, so that's got to come off. I've got to weld the actual flange onto there, which will be a nice seal because it's a really tight fit along there. So we'll clean all that up and do a really nice bead all the way around there. And then this side, this bit actually doesn't fit. Let me just try and get that out of the way. Do one end. That bit there doesn't actually go all the way back, so I'm going to have to do some grinding and some panel beating along this edge to make that fit all the way back. That shouldn't be a problem. The tighter the fit the better really. Get a nice tight weld around it. Back on there. So I really need to measure that. That's going to be the end where that wants to sit there, approximately. So what I'll do is I'll cut all that, shape all this, get that bit to fit on there. Clean it all up as best I can. We'll do a couple of tacks, then we'll take the entire exhaust middle section off, so we can bead all the way around it, and same with the manifold. So I'll cut that off there first, and then we'll cut that off there as well, I think. Get this to fit here, and then we can adjust, all being well. Right, so the manifold is just held in place with a couple of manifold nuts, and I've put the clamp on and just tacked it in place here with the gasless MIG. It's not a fantastic job with the gasless, but it's just a tack for now. I can take a little bit more time and really concentrate and get it all sealed up. What I want to do now, to squeeze under, is put a tack just here to hold this in place here. Then I can take the clamp off and I can weld all the way around. Is it going to focus? Stay in focus. weld all the way around here. I may have to put a piece in that, 'cause like I said before, this is slightly smaller than the actual clamp. But I'm going to have to just try and bodge it, I think, again. I really needed a complete new system, really. But that's something I can hopefully try and do at a later stage. Anyway, when that's tacked on there, something like as tight as possible like that. It's quite a nice fit there, it's just here's a little bit loose. Then I'll remove this centre section, which is a join just down here, in the middle there, and then here, and then that should all just come off, and I'll be able to weld this actually in the workshop instead of on the car. I'm sure I'll get a nice neater job that way as well. That does look a little bit rusty there. I wonder if I'll have some of that paint would work on that as well. Exhaust paint. Clean up a bit, wire brush it and paint it. Might do. Even just paint it black with some VHT. Could do that, I suppose. It's not very well tucked at the back there. It's higher than it was. It was a lot lower than that. It used to hang really low. But it's not too bad. A nice, neat stainless system would be quite nice, I think. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the thing. So I'm going to do this off camera. I've got my welding gloves, my little MIG over there, ready to go. Put my helmet on. I'm going to wear my thick corduroy jacket as well, because you always cover your sleeves when you're welding. I know some people do it with bare sleeves and a t-shirt. I've done it myself hundreds of times, and you shouldn't really, because it can actually burn your skin. It's worse than sunburn as well. Try and cover your arms up, stay on the safe side. So I'll get this tacked, and then I'll see you again in the workshop. Right, so a little update on my progress. I've rewrapped the exhaust. It's all welded around the back now. Done all the welding on that. I won't show you my welding too close because it's a little bit splattered with that gasless MIG. I had to use my old wrap, so basically I've just reused it, and it's not ideal. It's really crispy and quite worn, so I think I'm going to have to get some more and actually rewrap this with it. I think I might get something like 1 inch wide or 1.25 inches instead of this big 2 inch, and I can get round the 4 branch a little bit better into each individual thing. But for now, just to get it back on the road and get it moving again, I've used the original wrap. I've also given it a nice coat of the VHT, and I think that's pretty much ready to go back on the car. I've got the middle section to finish welding. I've got a little bit more welding to do on that, a little bit of cleaning up, and then that's ready. I might clean that up and give it a light coat of the silver paint just to brighten up a bit underneath there. I've got a new gasket on order, that's coming, should be in the next couple of days. I've just got to try and get a new stud in the actual head, so hopefully that'll go in if I retap that, and then I can get it all built back together. So all being well, it should go alright and not leak. Right, it's been a few days since the last clip, and the new gasket arrived, and I've basically put that on, put some new stud nuts on, and I managed to tap a new stud on there. It's slightly bigger than these standard ones. I have to get one slightly bigger and retap it and put a bigger one in, so the nut is slightly different on that, but it's nice and secure now. It's all wrapped, as you've seen, and underneath V-clamp looks really good. It was a bit of a pain to actually fit, because the actual back of the exhaust moved back as soon as you took any tension off. It all moved backwards, so the gap here was about 1/4 inch, so I had to loosen everything off, every single bolt, and pull it all forward. So it was a bit of a pain in the rear, to say the very least, so I can actually line it all up. So I've given the exhaust a nice coat of heat paint as well, so that's just prettied it up a little bit. I've replaced the exhaust hanger for a new nylon one. I've just got to put a 13mm nut on there, a lock nut on there, just to stop it from moving backwards and forwards. But other than that, it's pretty good. I've also gone over the underneath with some of the lano guard, which will be coming up in another video. Just a product test on that. I still need to do a few little more areas on it and do some rubbers and things, so I'll probably do that before I actually finish rebuilding it. So I'm going to start the engine now, and hopefully we haven't got any leaks. So I think that's a success. It sounds a little bit rattly from the top, but the oil does need changing this, so I think I'm going to give it an engine flush and swap the oil. So I was probably getting a bit old and thin now, and it's not been started for a while, so they've got to get the oil to go around the actual top of the head. It also needs a really good run. Okay, so I think that has solved that small leak from the actual join between the manifold and the rest of the exhaust. So touch Nissan, that's solved the problem. The only thing I've got to do now is find out what that little squeak is in the head, but I think that's just thin oil. It's getting old, so I'll flush it through and put new oil in. And the revs are still high on cold start. The accelerator pedal cable is actually sticking a little bit, so that's something else I've got to sort. So that'll be coming up in another episode. And then hopefully you can get back out on the road, get some miles on it this year. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it's been quite a long one. It's actually, in YouTube world, it's probably taken 20 minutes or so, but in the real world this has probably taken me 2 months with all the waiting for parts and freezing cold weather, then hot weather, and then hopefully we've actually got a nice summer now. So I'm going to go in now, have myself a nice Desperado and chill out for the rest of the evening. So make sure you like, comment and subscribe. Stay tuned for more content, and I'll see you in the next video.